Hey, good morning. It's a cool, cold, chilly November day, and we're not going to talk about 1940 Dodge cars sitting on truck chassis with a V6, modern truck chassis, but that's my neighbor's project for the winter. But what instead we're going to do is talk about the Hobo houseboat that we have here, and it's been named the Erie Hobo. And I recently had a marine survey done. The guy who did the marine survey he basically has this 150 ton vessel license, and he does surveys and things like that. So he gave me a verbal list, which I wrote down, and I'm waiting for his written list. But I've been tackling different items there. I've purchased all the additional little bits I need, and I've started installing some of the things. Following his recommendations to the T, because once he puts it in the survey, the insurance company knows about it and wants it corrected, and I want it corrected too. Some of the things that he recommended, yeah, I knew about them and I just hadn't got around to doing. Others, I don't think I disagreed with a single one of his items. I thought, yep, that's a good idea. That's a good idea to meet regulations, to be functional, and so on. So here we are in the cabin here. I'll just start at random as I see things. One thing, electrically, well, this is a mess, this place here, but basically what I have is I have a 110 15 amp rated electrical system. This is an extension cord. Actually, you pull it out through the housing, the box out there, but it's basically an extension cord. It's not coiled up. That extension cord went into a GFCI outlet, which then ran off to 3 other outlets throughout the boat and gave it GF, ground fault protection. But I did not have a master breaker or switch, so I have installed one here. And this is a marine one, and that's basically on, and it will trip. See, it trips fairly easily. So anyhow, so even if I have 30 amp I'm plugging into, I want the boat, I'm rating it at 15 amps because all I have is 14 gauge wire in here, house wire. So that's for the 110 circuit. So that's one thing he suggested. For the electrical system, I have 2 sets of batteries, and neither one of them I did not put any fusing or circuit breakers in. So I have 2 300 amp breakers for the 12 volt circuits. One will go on the starting, for the lines from the starting battery, and the other will go on the lines from, now this is kind of dark, but the solar battery back here. So they'll be fused just before they go into the battery selector here. Right now it's on both, so we have some lights. So anyhow, so we'll have appropriate, that'll protect against the dead short, so that'll be good. I do have that battery selector, does feed a whole pile of fuses, rat's nest there, but a whole pile of fuses here for the 12 volt systems. Yep. So, okay, so electrically, one other thing, you noted this battery isn't really well tied down, so I'm going to add an external clamp to that. Right now it's wedged in pretty tight, but as he pointed out, if you list over 120 degrees, yeah, it could fall out. So I'm going to take care of that. I thought, that's good enough, but no, he's right. We'll take care of that. The solar panels here, he didn't mention this, but I realized I did not have a fuse in my solar panel feed. There's a 100 watt panel up here, and I forget what the wattage was here. I had to look it up, what was recommended. And I bought this fuse that just goes in line between the 2 MC4 connectors. These MC4 connectors are some foolproof connectors, so you don't mix up the plus and the minus. You put it in the positive line from the solar collector. Now that all feeds into this system here and marries up on the back of, it happens to marry up on the back of the inverter, and then the back of the, well, there's the solar charge converter, I should say. But anyhow, so it's fused. If there's a short there, it'll blow that fuse. Okay, or if there's a short, now then things marry up here. The cables come up here for the inverter as well. If that shorts, then I will blow these guys. or if something shorts down here, I'll blow those guys. Now you notice something here, which is a no-no, which I knew about and I forgot about. I did not have any boots on here. So here's a big cavity back here on the back of the inverter, 12 volts, lots of amperage available. I don't have any boots, so I have this. I don't think I'll actually use these. I'm going to use something different, but I've got these type of boots to go over there. So electrically, I think that's what he said. There was something else he mentioned. He says, I did not have a smoke detector, smoke and CO detector. He talked about sleeping areas being important in sleeping areas. And I think, well, there's a motor. It's way out there. He said, well, what if you're rafted together with somebody else? He says there have been incidents where children and people below decks have had doors, ventilation open, and they're rafted together, and somebody's running a generator and they've gotten carbon monoxide poisoning. So anyhow, it is code, so that's what we're doing. We've got that there, and it will alarm. So even in this small area, we have protection for fire and carbon monoxide. Okay, I've got to think quickly here. What else did we need? One thing was mentioned was microwave security. It was sloshing around there. Well, I have a lip. It will still slosh around, but I have this lip now. I had a very small lip before. Now I have a bigger lip, which will retain that. Okay. Some other things I'll just point out at the motor. I got a new prop for the motor. It's in that box right there. But he said put a new prop on, because that damaged prop that's on it right now that really beat up, even though I feathered it and repainted it and so on. He said that's evidence of prop strikes, and if I have a problem with the lower unit and make a claim, if you have an old beat up prop on it, well, guess what? The insurance company has a basis to deny your claim. Other thing on the motor, he checked inside. He checked all fuel lines and tanks. He said, you don't have a tie down. I've just put this temporarily. And he said, well, that would suffice, but a bungee across the gas tank. I've got place for two. And I may eventually weld up some larger tanks for longer travel. But anyhow, he looked at the motor. He was happy with the maintenance that I'd done on the lower unit and on the top, other than the fact that when I should have replaced some fuel lines in there feeding the carbs, and some of the clamps he said were not correct. So I have fuel line and clamps, and I have to install that. So let me consult my crappy little list here. It's all banged up. I think that, oh, one last thing. He looked at my bilge pump. He says, great, you've got a bilge pump. I had it just sitting on there on an aluminum plate, and it wasn't secured, and I knew that I should have secured it. I just hadn't got around to it. So it is secured now. Stainless steel screws, mounting it to one of these strakes here, one of these reinforcements for the transom. So I think I have just covered everything here, and if I haven't, well, you get the gist of it. So these are the types of things he looked at. Did I mention life jackets? I think I did at the beginning. So that life jacket is a Vetter because it's got no certification. I've got one in the trash can, and I've got these here that are okay to go. I'll probably buy one more. I need to have an extra. Oh, porta potty. You notice the security there. I'd not gotten around to securing. I wasn't sure how we would do it. So this is how I've done it, and he says that's adequate. If I deem it adequate, it's adequate. Anyhow, so I put the bungee on. I don't want to screw into the floor, because right there, that's actually the hull. Right here, there is some space. You start to have the stringers underneath, and there's a little bit of space between the floor and the hull, but I don't want to put holes in the floor. I don't want to penetrate the nice fiberglass work that I've done. So I've got that. If I need to change that or modify it, I will. So hope that gives you a little idea. Oh, he looked at anchors. I have a gazillion anchors. He was happy with anchors, heaving lines, things like that, and lighting on the boat, all that sort of thing. So thanks for bearing with me as I document this, and maybe you find it helpful. And this is helpful for me just to document what I've done, where I've been. So we'll see you in the spring probably when this is in the water. Okay, bye-bye.